Hello everyone, I'm Elizabeth Shaw and this channel is all about the narcissistic personality disorder and ways to recover from narcissistic abuse. This video is all about facing your pain and the reality of everything that's happened to you to move forward onto a much happier life. The painful reality of narcissistic abuse is emotionally, physically and mentally devastating and extremely draining on us. Often, if it was our parents, we grew up with a lot of guilt for things that we never did, a lot of resentment for things that we were never had, from affection to not being allowed out. There are so many deeply hidden scars and wounds that we need to heal from. Most often, those who didn't turn into the human survival fight mode and became narcissistic themselves, the ones that didn't turn into narcissists, end up as being people pleasers, fearing judgment from others, not having any self-confidence or little self-esteem, not many boundaries, and it often leads to having relationships with narcissistic people as we believe it to be the normal. Whilst you're running away from the pain, you cannot heal from that pain. Grief gives us clarity over the situation in its entirety. It also allows us to process what's happened and ways to move forward, developing ourselves for the better. One thing you can do is try and think back to that very first painful childhood memory if you had narcissistic parents. If it was negative, you need to work on that, releasing it, writing it out, letting it go. If it was a positive memory, just make sure there wasn't anything connected to it that does cause pain in some way. You need to remove that pain, screaming, crying, getting angry, however you wish to deal and release these emotions. Most often, human nature is to run away from the pain, hide from the pain, deny ourselves the true pain. We avoid the hurt, but unfortunately, this ends up with us hurting ourselves more in the long run. Most often, when we don't deal with our inner trauma and pain, we get trapped in the negative coping mechanisms that have served us well in the moment, yet it programs our subconscious and no longer serves us if we don't release them. Often we keep them so that our own insecurities, weaknesses and vulnerabilities don't surface for others to take advantage of in the future. These coping mechanisms protect us from the reality of the pain. There are many ways people focus on negative coping strategies, and they are usually subconsciously programmed and created by ourselves to hide from that real pain. Yet because the real pain isn't getting dealt with, it does cause further problems for us. Some negative ways to deal with pain. So there's the passive coping strategies, which are self-harm, substance abuse, addictions like alcohol, drugs, gambling, sexual misconduct, overspending, acting out verbally and aggressively. The list goes on. Now, some of you, when you've been in a narcissistic relationship, might question whether you are the narcissist because you may have turned to some of these things to cope. That does not make you a narcissist. That just means you were in that environment and that's how your body and your mind and your subconscious went to survive. And once you're out of that environment, you can get over these coping strategies and move forward to a happier you. The list goes on with this method. The way we try to deal with things in that moment is distraction skills to numb, ignore, or cover up the true emotional pain. And as I've just said, you can see most of these are narcissistic behaviours and their subconscious hasn't grieved from past trauma. Now, we can all go through these during different stages. It does not make us a narcissist. While ever you have empathy for others and can put yourself in other people's shoes, you can move past this A narcissist cannot release that deeply hidden trauma to overcome this. They've got into the pattern for so long by destroying others that they don't see themselves as the problem. Passive coping strategies can be isolating ourselves, self-blaming, avoidance, oversleeping, overeating, undereating, and there's lots more of passive coping strategies. These are all to cover and hide again from the emotional pain and not acknowledging it for what it truly is. This is usually how the abused person starts their coping strategies off. However, those who are abused or cannot find other coping strategies end up feeling like it's natural to go for these things. It's more natural to blame ourselves than face the real pain of reality. Common sense things to do is what our subconscious tells us to do, and it's run away from the pain. Mask the pain with something else. However, the long term, it does create more pain. The beginning of most personality disorders and the beginning of most mental illnesses is the avoidance of legitimate suffering for the true pain, which is why we don't allow ourselves to grieve or feel true pain of traumatic experiences and try to mask it instead. It's just your body's natural way of coping with it. You can say no to the reality and your subconscious can find another problem to hide from the true pain. Your subconscious can be programmed by others to hide from the true reality. Your subconscious can protect you in non-productive ways to hide from that pain. At some point, that pain is going to hit. The reality will still be around, and the more we subconsciously run from it, the worse it becomes. Anxiety is there to protect us. Why we have rational anxiety, it is there to protect us. Yet the more we run from the pain and the trauma using our anxiety as a defense mechanism, the more this becomes irrational anxiety. And then the more we end up with anxiety problems. So don't run from that pain. Allow that pain to surface. Deal with the pain. Talk it out with someone you trust. Write it out. Scream it all out. Think back to all those traumas. Write down how you protected yourself. Well, write down what happened. Write down how you protected yourself. Write down what effects that had on you. And then write the reality. Stepping out of your comfort zone that isn't actually bringing you true comfort, bringing your subconscious out and putting it into your conscious mind will help you deal with the real trauma, move through the pain and the grief onto a much happier life. This might mean doing things that you don't really want to do, things that you're worried about, or things that scare you. It might mean tears, tantrums, anger, resentment. You're allowed to be scared. It'll help you become brave. It'll help you become strong, and it'll help you move past the pain, face the fear and overcome the fear. There's nothing wrong with having vulnerabilities. We all have vulnerabilities. There's nothing wrong with feeling anxious. You need to go through that anxiety and that vulnerability and do it anyway. You have to go through what you find challenging. You have to go through it, and while you're going through it, you need to grow through it. You have to face the pain head on and deal with the realities to allow yourself to develop, to grow and to change into the person who you want to be. Going through a narcissistic relationship, be it your parents or your partner, has devastating effects, not only on your mental health but your physical health too. Most of us are left feeling worthless, confused, anger, hurt and abused. We have to move past that pain. We have to release that pain. And in order to do so, we've got to find those ways of facing up to it and letting it all out. You also need to focus on reprogramming your inner critic. Now, whether someone's put that inner critic voice in your head or whether you've put that inner critic voice in your head, it's most likely someone else. But you need to reprogram it. So things like I'm broken need to become I'm healing. I'm not good enough needs to become I am good enough. I'm not lovable needs to be I am lovable. I cannot do this has to become I can do this. Whatever that limiting negative belief is that's holding you back and keeping you stuck, that's programmed into your subconscious, needs to be brought up and out and reprogrammed by your conscious. It's hard. It's like learning to walk. We stumble, we fall, yet we keep getting up and we keep doing it again until it becomes natural. We all have amazing abilities deep within us, and we can all achieve great things if we work through the pain, lose the fear of judgment and keep working on ourselves, move out of that victim mindset, lose the woe is me and create a real survivor mindset that is the lovable me. It's okay to love ourselves for who we truly are. So long as our intentions are good, there is no right way or wrong way. There is only our way, just as long as we've got good intentions. You're allowed to tell your stories to others. You're allowed to keep it hidden. You're allowed to go through the pain. You're allowed to work on you. You're allowed to be happy, and you're allowed to be exactly who you want to be. So release all that pain, release all that negativity, get it all out of your system. Keep taking those baby steps, keep focusing on who you want to be, where you want to be. If you're not sure who you want to be, keep asking yourself, who am I? Who am I? Keep trying new things to find the things that you enjoy doing for you, and keep going, because it will get easier. And then before you know it, you will be so much happier, so much wiser and so much stronger. Thank you for listening. Bye.